Welcome to the Limitless Podcast. The Limitless Podcast is centered around exactly that, being limitless. Hunting, fishing, fitness, nutrition, adventure, disabilities. What may be covered during the Limitless Podcast will be, well, limitless. Stay tuned for this episode of the Limitless Podcast. Limitless Podcast listeners, we're back for another episode. I'm not going to cover sponsors today because it is a new year. We're mostly, oh my gosh, I was going to say we're mostly through February, right? But I believe today we're 2 days into March. Oh my goodness. Maybe I should record more than once a month. I'm trying to find that happy medium of trying to record 1 or 2 episodes a week to recording once every 2 months. I'm thinking that maybe once a month or once every 2 weeks is a little more feasible for me in my life right now. We're not even in an active hunting season right now. We're coming into turkeys here, not soon enough. But, then get through the summertime and heading into elk season, whitetail hunting and fishing. There's so many things that I just don't know if it's feasible for me to record 1 or 2 episodes a week for people to listen into. So I'm trying to find that happy ground there. And because it is the new year, I have not solidified sponsorships for 2026. And that's a me thing. It's not on companies that have previously sponsored the Limitless Podcast. It is a complete lack of initiative on my behalf on reaching out to them, ensuring that they again want to provide a sponsor level discount for anybody listening to the shows. I will tell you this. My good friends at On Point Adventure Foods have stated they want to continue sponsoring the Limitless Podcast. And again, what does that sponsorship mean? Does not mean that I'm being paid to promote their product. It does not mean that they are paying for a portion of this show. It is merely a relationship that I have with them because I use their product so much. I trust and rely on their product so much that I'm seeking them out to provide a discount for you as a listener for a product that I truly believe in. They do not provide me any kickback or any discount for myself. It's purely for your benefit as a listener. And that is, again, On Point Adventure Foods. They're out of Pennsylvania and they're offering a 10% discount on any order. And that discount code is BLimitless10. And you will only hear those discount codes while listening to episodes of the Limitless Podcast. Along with that, please, whether you're listening to Spotify or iTunes or any other audio platform, or if you're watching and or listening to episodes on YouTube, it would be awesome if you would press the like button and provide a review, hit that 5-star, send questions, make comments about the episodes. Would love to hear from you and would also like your support through liking and following and sharing the Limitless Podcast. So with that said, today, we're going to cover some gear today that might be a little bit of off cycle or out of cycle from what a lot of other outdoor whitetail or elevated type podcast platforms focus on, how their schedules go. Right now, guys are gearing up for turkey season. I'm gearing up for turkey season. It's one of my favorite times of the year. But I met a guy in January, and this guy made something that it was like I was staring at my own brainchild. Like every time I loaded my climbing gear onto my pack and I was walking away from the truck, and whether it was for 4 hours or 4 days, the way I was having to pack my sticks, I was always in my mind thinking, man, if I had the intellectual prowess to put stuff on paper and then get somebody to build that for me, what would that ultimate climbing stick look like? Something that was strong and light and incredibly packable, and something that I could pack flat somewhere on my pack so I didn't have standoffs sticking out. Yet when I got to my tree, it still had standoffs so that I could climb. And lo and behold, at the ATA, I met a guy that made, in my opinion, the perfect climbing stick. And I am so fortunate today to have Mike Melgaard from Versa Outdoors staring at me from a camera several states away. Mike, welcome to the Limitless podcast. And I am super excited to share you and your products and what you're bringing to the elevated hunting community. Please say hello, sir.
Hello, thanks, Aaron, and I'm really glad to be on your podcast here today. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we met at the ATA.
Yes.
I was there early one morning and walking the floor before the crowds hit. And it was actually before a lot of the product owners or vendors were in their own booths prepping. I was there really, really early, walking around with a hot cup of hunting day coffee in my hand. And I was trying to set the stage for my day for time management because I was there with the A3G initiative and our own exhibit, which kept me anchored to that exhibit quite a bit. So whenever I was going to go interact with a product or a person or an owner, I wanted to know where I was going and for what reason, not just wandering the show floor. And that's when I came across your climbing stick. And I'm really excited to talk about that. But first, I want you to tell us who you are and maybe your hunting background, where you come from. Give us a little insight on who Mike is and what led you to where you're at.
Well, I'm a farm kid, born and raised in west central Wisconsin. Spent a lot of time farming, obviously. My parents had a dairy farm. And are we still on, Aaron?
Yep. Yeah, we're here.
Okay, my computer gave me a blank screen there. All right. Yeah, so anyway, we grew up on a dairy farm, and it was just really we spent a lot of time just doing different farming activities, but I had a family member, a brother-in-law mainly, that just was really into going up to the northern part of the state and doing more remote hunting. And I just got the itch following magazine articles, Chuck Adams, all the legends, the Tom Mirandas from the days, and just was inspired to hunt and just got really into whitetail hunting when it just was, I guess, a growing thing. The archery was just really coming on board, and some of the early videos were just getting brought out, maybe on some VHS tapes and so on. But regardless, we there were companies online then that or not online, but in the industry, the lone wolves, maybe the old man climbing tree stands. There were just very few options back then. And when my brother-in-law and I started hunting up north, we were innovating and building our own tree stands and climbing sticks and stuff like that when it wasn't even really a thing, just to try to get elevated. So we created some back then, and I continued to just do that through my younger years, just trying to create and build uh, climbing sticks, my and tree stands. My career took me to nearly 30 years in law enforcement, which I'm retired from now, and look to take this passion I had that I've been working on for a lot of years and just take a lot of the innovation that's happened, but just try to find a place in the space that we could really fit into with some new and innovative products in the mobile industry. I have spent a lot of years hunting out of state, Illinois, Kansas, Iowa, Minnesota, out west elk hunting, and used climbing systems all that time. And you're always looking for boxes to check for features that you're looking for. And when we set out to create Versa Outdoors, we wanted to innovate in the space into products that just weren't like all the rest, but had features that people were just looking for in their products. And we just wanted to make things simpler, faster, quieter, lighter. And I think we've really hit it on the head with some of the stuff we've come out with so far. But man, we are working on some things for the future that I hope will be the wow factor for this industry. And we are in the early stages of some development that's coming for us. And our shadow sticks we debuted as, in hand at the ATA show. I would say your initial interest that first morning that you expressed that this was what you were seeking for your style of hunting, and it that energy never seemed to stop that whole ATA show. The amount of people that came by saw what we had to offer, even in our limited product line right now, which isn't too extensive, but what we have to offer and how it integrates and really how things hunt, just the huntability of what we have. And that energy was really appreciated and just so motivating to be at that show. We've been elsewhere since at some shows. We're gearing up to go to Iowa this week to the Iowa Deer Classic, a giant show, and just try to showcase what we have to offer and interact with a whole bunch of different vendors there.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was walking down one of the aisles and I saw your stuff, and I'm a huge Latitude Outdoors fan. In fact, when I first entered the saddle hunting space, they are the company that I gravitated to for a couple of reasons. And I've always really leaned into their products. The guys at Latitude, that they're a great company, they're great dudes.
For sure.
They're very forward thinking, they're very approachable and personable. And I've always enjoyed working with them and running their gear. And I couldn't even begin to count the number of climbs that I've made with their carbon sticks, and the amount of hours that I have logged on a single carbon stick in a tree packed into the mountains somewhere. And it has been my company of choice. XOP is runner up. Again, just classy guys that are producing a very affordable price point on higher quality equipment for guys to take out into the woods and climb trees on and have a safe, enjoyable experience. And I've always been a single stick guy. I tried, and for me, just Mike, so that you and we're on the same page with my terminology. There's three types of climbing styles, and this isn't going to get into SRT and all of that. But if you're going to use sticks, I look at it as one stick, single stick, and multi-stick. So the one stick is that one stick all-in-one item that you have that has the pylon on it. It has a step, and then it has your top step. And it may have an aider on it, but you have one single stick that has everything on it, that one stick. So that I call that a one stick. And I did that for a season, maybe 2 seasons. And it's great. I didn't fall in love with it. The single stick is where I call one single stick with a platform or a ring of steps. And then multi-stick is the same outlook, but you have 3 or 4 or 5 sticks with you. I guess I should say anything more than one stick. You can go with 2 sticks if that's what you want to use, but you're using multiple sticks to get up the tree. And then you either have a platform or a ring of steps.
Yeah.
And I mainly run single stick. I always have. That's the first time I ever climbed a tree was with a Latitude was not making a stick at that point in time. So I had a customized API stick that was cut down and had been turned into a climbing stick, had a 2-step aider on it, and I was using a Predator platform. And then I transitioned to the X-Wing when Latitude developed the X-Wing, ran the X-Wing. I still have that original X-Wing. It is one of my favorite platforms. And then I had a ring of steps, the Bowman platform ring of steps. I absolutely love them. I put them on a cam over buckle, which is lighter than a ratchet strap, takes away the noise of a ratchet strap, but gives me the ability to lock the ring of steps to the tree nearly as tight as I can get it with a ratchet strap. So I get the best of both worlds there. It's way better than a cam buckle, and it's better than a ratchet strap. And
Yeah.
I've logged hundreds of hours on those systems. Last year, I took the plunge on a quote unquote hybrid system. So I went with the XOP Superfly, and I did purchase their Hyperlight sticks. Loved it. So all last season, I was still employing my tried and true system that was based off of the Latitude carbon stick with either the Ring of Steps or the X-Wing platform, depending upon where and how I was hunting. And then I also started playing around with the hybrid setup with my XOP equipment that I'd purchased. I love it all. I really do. And to me, they each have a place on where I'm going and what I'm doing. And what I found was for backcountry, I still really like that single stick setup with the Ring of Steps because it's super compact. I have that Latitude setup that I have with the carbon stick, two-step aider, and my Ring of Steps, and then the saddle and all the other accoutrements that are required to go climb a tree. That's
Sure.
right at 7 pounds. It's 7 pounds. So I can add that onto my pack load, go punch in for several days, and I can go hunt critters from an elevated position. I'm only adding 7 pounds with an incredible, versatile way of hunting in the backcountry or in a pack-in scenario, away from other hunters and hanging over animals that are not accustomed to an elevated threat. It's brilliant. But when I'm hunting local, if I'm going to go spend hours in a tree for a day, I really found that hybrid setup to be very comfortable. Having that lock on, that ultralight lock on platform with a seat, it gives me more space for my feet. Gives me the ability to sit down if I want to. Give any saddle pressure a rest. I can restrict some of my movement throughout the day if I'm in a lull, especially if it's not the rut and you have that afternoon lull or that late morning lull. I can actually sit down on the seat and be more still. I really enjoyed it, and I had a lot of fun figuring out how we could take that Superfly and pack it in against my external frame pack and the pack itself, like where the meat shelf is, to keep it really slim and packable. Even if I'm only going a half a mile or a mile into public land out here on the Eastern Shore, just a really easy way to pack my gear in. And then I can also pack my deer out. I don't have to drag anything. I'm 100% anti deer drag. And I was always battling the standoffs with my sticks. So when I was walking through the aisles of the ATA and I saw your product, it was like that buying that winning lottery ticket. And you have them sitting right there. I
I
have
do. Yeah.
mine. I have mine sitting here as well. And initially I bought one stick. And that was because I typically run a single stick. But also last year I started doing multi-stick. I just wanted to play with it because everybody does it. And so I tried it a little bit. And again, in certain applications, I really enjoyed the multi-stick hunting application. I wouldn't want to pack it in that way, but I might with yours. So I don't want to steal your thunder on talking about your product. If anybody's listening to this on YouTube and not really paying attention, or if you're just listening to the audio version, highly recommend that you get on YouTube and check this episode out because you're going to see a really cool piece of kit. Mike, talk to us about these shadow sticks. They're brilliant. I love them.
Well, thanks, Aaron. And you talked about different ways that you hunt, and we all do that. I'm a whitetail hunter at heart, but I also love Western hunting, the elk hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think of the old days of taking my large lone wolf alpha stand with four 32-inch sticks on my back. It was just the way a lot of things were at the time. It was the best of the best that we had, and still great gear, but packing in up a mountain to a wallow a few miles just to try to get elevated maybe for an afternoon sit, and then coming back to hunt the Midwest where you want more of the setups like you talked about where you have options to leave sets in a tree, maybe climb down. And when we were looking to enter the climbing stick and the eventual tree stand, saddle platform, hybrid platform type of market in the future for us, which is hopefully going to be soon. Um, when we went to look at entering that market, we polled a lot of people, not only from our experiences, my experiences, friends and stuff like that, but people around the country that we talked to about what was important. And then we just categorized them. And we tried to build a stick to work around all the patents that are out there, which was kind of difficult. We wanted to
Mm-hmm.
obviously respect ethically and legally the patents that other companies have, their intellectual property. But to get around that, to create a stick that just checked all these boxes that people were looking for. And it's been a long time in development. But yeah, like you showed your shadow sticks. This is two of them put together. So we wanted to really hit on packability. We wanted to hit on quiet out of the box, where we could just have a stick that would just be quieter than anything else on the market coming out of the box. So you didn't have to spend a lot of extra time and effort and money after the fact to upfit your sticks to try to make them quiet so they were that huntable and really functional type of climbing stick. So we wanted to make a stick. People talked about a double step system, that was the most preferred. I still have some single step sticks, but as I've evolved, I have appreciated having the double step option. But I've never really liked the double steps because of the clunkiness and the thickness, just the bulkiness of those sticks. And we also looked at the packability, and we wanted to make a stick that was not only packable in a profile manner like this. This is two of our sticks put together, but we also wanted to make it really functional, that you didn't have to have another means to hold it together, a means that held it together that wasn't long-term durable, that would, break in the cold, that would be noisy when you go to disconnect and connect your sticks if you're going to pack them. But our sticks go together with a brand new, we have 4 patents pending on these sticks alone. So one of the features that we added were these snub plugs. They're a little rubber post that comes off the front of one stick, and they nest into a hole in the back of the other stick. And these sticks, as much as you can take them, shake them around, just holding, you can stack these 10 deep and do this. But yet, with a simple twist of the sticks, they just separate. So there's nothing else needed to hold them together. So that was one thing, was the packability and the stowability, or a couple things there that we looked for. And then when you go to put the sticks back together, you simply just press them together and they're connected again. So I feel like we really nailed some of the profile packability. The other thing that you mentioned is the folding standoffs that we have. So with that, we have standoffs that actually fold up, minimal fiddle factor. You don't even have to look at it to do it. That was one thing. Some people talked about they didn't want to have a fiddle factor with their sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were looking to create something that would be uh, really simple to use, we came upon this design of folding them up and down, and they really grip to the tree well. And we're looking at a stick, not the lightest stick on the market, but probably one of the lightest all metal sticks on the market at right around 1.5 pounds. We didn't compromise with another feature that people were looking for, and that was foot room. These sticks have a standoff that's industry leading, that's matched by like the Eastern Woods Outdoors sticks and the XOP X2 sticks. We offer a 5-inch standoff, so you get a really large foot room. You're not standing on your tippy toes with these sticks. And another thing that I mentioned was the quietness. So we have a finish on here that we call a sound tamer finish. We've invested a lot of time and effort to get to here, but when our sticks bump together, there's not that loud tingy noise no matter where you hit. People, they put wrap around the ends of their sticks. They'll stealth strip them to death, and that does work, but it can get to interfere with, let's say, the stacking. Once the stuff starts to come off or wear off, it can be messy. So it's a good alternative, but we wanted to make that quietness right out of the box. So when you get them and you're climbing a tree, and just again, back to the word huntability, when you're climbing and these sticks are on your side and you inadvertently bump them against your stand, the sticks themselves, you're not sending out that loud ringing noise.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing with the sticks, so as you go to stack these sticks, we tapered the back hole. So at night, you can just take the sticks and you can the plugs from one stick just naturally fall right into the hole of the other. You can just feel it. Once they're there, you just simply bring the sticks together and push them together. We've added glow plugs, or not glow plugs, glow in the dark dots to this each step and the end of each step, so it really accommodates the visibility when you're going up and down the tree as well. I just saw that on the screen there, so I wanted to hit that highlight. But when we talk about huntability with these sticks, there's no extra straps, carabiners, 3D printing clips necessary. You can have your harness on. You can use the standoffs from our sticks to just hook into your belt, for example, your waistline. And once it's there, you can just go up and down the tree. You can hook it into your pocket, but just you can peel each stick off one by one, super quiet. It's just very functional going up and down the tree. Another thing we did with these sticks is we added, so our company started out, one of our products was what we call our loop and lock bracket that we make for other brands of climbing sticks. For example, XOPX2 sticks, the old Lone Wolf, Beast Gear, they use the old style Versa button with a cam strap and cam buckle. And we wanted to make something that was simple, a plug and play bracket that people could use their existing sticks and yet get a more modern, lightweight, super quiet, efficient system for connecting their sticks. So on our shadow sticks here, we have this mini loop and lock bracket that works with 1/8 inch amp steel rope, and we offer a real long 8-foot option for going around larger trees, and we do sell extensions for these as well. If you get around those big old grandma oak trees or the river bottom trees that have a big base and you just still want to get up the tree, we do sell extensions just to accommodate that. So I mentioned the finish we put on here. We call it a sound tamer finish, but we also combine that with what we call a shadow flage appearance. These sticks literally disappear on the trees. We've had some people jokingly say that they've lost their sticks and can't find them. Maybe some of them aren't so joking, but they do really disappear on the tree. So if you're wanting that stealth look, that stealth appearance, we combine that with these to give that. I mentioned the loop and lock bracket, the aider containment system that we have on these sticks. We wanted to make these sticks. I saw you brought up your sticks with a whole bunch of aiders, with aiders on those sticks. But I have a stack of 5 shadow sticks here connected together. Each one of these has a different aider on it. This isn't our whole line, but I just want to show. I'm going to pop this first one off here. And this is a nylon webbing aider, a single step nylon webbing aider. It is about as simple to deploy as you could ask. It just folds down and it's ready to go. When we get ready to stow it, you bring it up. We made a special slot in the top that the aider just hooks into. And again, it's stowed and allows you to stack them all together. The next aider that I'll show you, this is my favorite that we have done. It is a cable type aider. We call it our Versa Aider. So we completely redesigned our bottom step on the stick, the same outside perimeter profile, but just a slight modification to accommodate this aider. And this aider works as silky smooth as
Mm.
anything that's likely on the market for somebody looking for a more semi-rigid option. And it just simply folds up and stows back on the stick and yet doesn't interfere with the stacking profile of
Mm-hmm.
the sticks. This has been super popular since we launched these at the ATA show. Other options we have are single. This is a stick with our single step am steel aider. And then we have double and triple step versions. And these here, as you can see, a super slim profile, held on by bungees, and there's the aider completely deployed. And
That's a two-step. That's a two-step aider.
this is a two-step. Yep. The other one I set down was a three-step. So the three-step works the same way. Yeah.
So if looking on my screen, I have two of your shadow sticks. They're three-step aiders. So
Yeah.
the two things that I fell in love with, it was love at first sight, was the foldable standoffs so that they're laying flat and I can put them in between my pack and the pack frame. And then to me, it was the icing on the cake that made these so unique and incredible is the way that you have designed your aiders to be stowed with your stick so that they stack as slim as possible. There's not another
Yeah.
design like it on the market right now. Excuse me. And that's where I really think that you've tipped the scale on these, Mike. And I'm gonna show an example here real quick. And again, I have nothing but great things to say about Latitude Outdoors and XOP. They're my favorite. This is what really has me in love with your product. So I love aiders, huge fan. And my Latitude sticks, I always use a two-step aider. And when Latitude sticks come out of the box, they stack up very compact. They're great. Now you do have to have something to hold them together if you're going to have multiple sticks. And if I'm gonna go in with my Latitude sticks right now with two-step aiders on them to get me to a height that I want to hunt, with a single stick or with a stick that has three steps, I can take two sticks that have three-step aiders on them and I can get right about 17 feet, maximizing my climb. On a two-step aider, I can't get that high, so I'll take three sticks. And this is the mess that I have stowing my aiders with my Latitude sticks. And again, I love these sticks. But from day one with that modified API stick that I had that had a two-step aider on it, I have always stowed my aiders like this. They're wrapped up on the bottom step, and I do it a certain way every single time. It's not super clean, but it works. It's packable, but it interferes with how the sticks naturally stack with each other. And even if I'm packing this in to the backcountry with just the stick alone with my two-step aider, I'm still dealing with this mess that I have here. And I always have. I haven't figured out a better way to do it. And I certainly don't want to take the aider off and have it in my dump pouch. And when I get to my tree, I have to put my aider on before I start climbing. I don't want to do that either. I could, 100% I could, because getting the aider on and off is a very simple process. I just rather not have to do that every time that I climb. For my XOPs, they have a three-step aider, and I love their aiders. It's a webbing. And for not packing something in just for local hunts, I really enjoyed these sticks, and I really liked their three-step aider, this webbing. especially as an amputee, it gave my prosthetic foot a little easier purchase on those aiders. It was a very comfortable climb. But again, I have this mess at the base of each stick. I have not found a better way of stowing these without literally taking the aiders off of my sticks whenever I'm packing them in and out of the woods.
Yeah,
Now,
I think what you talk about, Aaron, is was so echoed when we looked to create a stick and then bring in the integration of the aiders so it was a more tidy, functional system. When you talk about taking aiders and throwing it or putting them in your pocket, we've all done that, and they come out sometimes smelly from being wet when you stow them.
yeah,
That scent factor that's there, they come out knotted. And then if you put on the wrong coat or you don't take your pack, you're left without your aider. It's just the function that having everything integrated into one contained system really helps. It just works.
this is again, I mean, you can't see a ton on my camera view right now, but two of the shadow sticks with three-step aiders on both. There's a three-step aider on each stick that's wrapped up in here. Just nice, clean, organized, easy to pack. It's slim. And then I have my tried and true Latitude carbon sticks with my two-step aiders wound up at the base of each step. And they no longer stack completely flat with each other. It's a little bit messy. I can deploy this in the dark. I can wrap this up in the dark. It's muscle memory for me. I've been doing it for several years, but it's still not clean and compact, like the design that you've put out on the market. This is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Well, thanks, Aaron. When you take that system for you and talking about stowing the stick in your pack, one thing I did want to mention about the shadow sticks is that we have no sharp standoff sticking out. So when you're putting it in a pack, when people put it on the twisted iron pack rats too, for example, there's no a lot of those saddle hunters are using that. I should have had mine up here for display, but you have no standoff sticking out. Everything that we do on all the parts of our stick are tumbled. You can take your hand, rub it anywhere on this stick, and you're not gonna, unless you grind super hard, you're not gonna get cut. To try to do that on other sticks out on the market, it's not cutting into your hands, it's not cutting into your gear, but yet these sticks lock onto the tree super well. Like any stick, they have to be installed correctly. It's all part of that safety factor. And
Yeah.
speaking of safety, that's one thing that I do not want to overlook during our conversation here is that we did not want to compromise that. And everything that we do with these sticks is third-party certification tested to 600 pounds. All of our aiders on the sticks, any modification that we do to this stick would have to be retested when we changed our bottom step slightly to accommodate our Versa aider, the cable type aider. We sent it back in for third-party certification tested, so everyone can feel at ease that the sticks were tested independently, and even with every single aider was tested to under load as well and repetition. So that's obviously huge for anybody getting off the ground. It's a liability for us as a company to ensure that's done, but it's also the ethical thing to do for anybody using our gear or anybody climbing above the ground. So yeah, that safety was a huge part of what we did and what we'll continue to do before we put something out there. And there's not many companies now making gear that are 100% made in America. And that is
Mm-hmm.
one thing that we do offer. If it's important to people, that's great. We do, I think, really retain some of our quality control by keeping things here. We've been approached to go over offshore and look at other options, maybe less expensive options. But there's just some pride with having it made here. There's some quality control. There's a lot of convenience to doing that here, and we're proud of that. So, yeah, you mentioned you used last year an XOP Superfly. I have
I did.
and just to show some of the packability of our sticks on a tree stand. This is an XOP fly tree stand with the uh, shadow sticks mounted on there. And you can see how nice of a profile. We took this stand and painted it with our super sexy saddleflage finish just to kind of combine everything, but make it look like a system there. But it's, yeah, a really good system. I have another stand that I brought in here. This is a Novix Hilo stand with our shadow sticks put on it. Um, if you're running, a lot of people run, with various stands, the Lone Wolf custom gear, the Beast stand, the shadow sticks can either go on the post and still allow the seat to fold up on those for your meat shelf or your pack shelf. The sticks can also, we on our website we have photos and videos of the sticks mounted off to the sides of each stand, and you just get a really slim profile no matter what you use. And your system, like you said, you got two 3-step aiders. I'm really surprised how many people are doing something similar to that, whether it's the 3-step on the bottom and maybe going, to a 2-step or a 1-step above that. But it is really common because that first move is so nice to get one stick. You're tying it off to the tree at a comfortable level, and you can just really efficiently climb that way.
Yeah. It's again, I practiced this out in my front yard before hunting with it this last season. The XOP Hyperlight sticks with their 3-step aiders. And I average 17 feet. That's from ground to platform, 17 feet. So I'm not getting a true 17 feet with just the sticks. Once I make my second move and I'm standing on top of that second stick, when I mount my Superfly, that comfortable step for me to go from the stick onto the platform itself, I can get 17 feet. Now I will often mount my platform at the same level with my step. I'll offset it
Sure.
90 degrees because it gives me greater movement around the tree. But I'm 15 to 17 feet off the ground, which if you're finding good concealment in your setup, you can kill deer at 15 feet.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so many people that are hunting lower, depending on the cover, all of that stuff. Um, yeah, you mentioned too, Aaron, how you showed your samples on the other climbing sticks out there of the way you have your aiders stowed on those sticks. We we are working with Austin at Genesis 3D and some other things that we're developing and going to be released soon. But aider containment systems on our sticks for people that look to use, let's say, the Hunt Arsenal Max aiders, the poly type plastic steps, the more rigid steps that go up. There's a lot of people that like the function of those, and they are good aiders. So we are working to. We have a little bracket. It's developed already that will hold the max aiders, for example, in just a tidy fashion right on our sticks, as simple as can be. We are working to release here real soon a new system for holding your sticks onto the stand that will be universal on a whole bunch of stands. That would just be able to hook to the rungs of the stand and tidy your system up. So we're looking to integrate into some of those areas where if you didn't want to use the aiders that we sell that are made for aiders, for example, if you already have aiders but yet want to use our sticks, you can still have a system when you bring them up and stow them that they're going to be stowable on our sticks where you don't have to remove them every time. So we're trying to think outside the box that not everybody is going to buy the aiders that we have and maybe just has their own, which makes sense to not maybe have something new, just want to use what they already have in their arsenal and just utilize them on our sticks in a functional way.
That's fantastic. Any any stand features for Versa Outdoors? Did that question come out right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're alluding to. We are working on stands and saddle platforms that I'm hoping will really wow the industry over the next year.
Okay.
And the one thing that we did with some of the patents that we have pending on our climbing sticks is we transcended that language over to utilize some of the same technology and integration with tree stands and saddle platforms. And one of the boxes that a lot of people look to check with whatever they're using is lightweight.
Mhm.
Um, and it is a box. It's not the only box, but I realize how important that is. And we want to move towards potentially creating the lightest weight stuff on the market, but without compromising noise, without compromising safety, without compromising the functionality of what we're working on. But if we, if a company can add and check every single box that people are looking for, including the lightest weight or close to the lightest weight, that's where we want to fit in is innovation with design and function, and also with the packability, the stowability, the lightweightness, combine that all into the word huntability and the function of what climbing sticks, saddles, or saddle platforms, tree stands, and all could integrate together as a system.
Well, I don't know if this is a topic that you really want to dive into, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pop the lid on it a little bit and let some of it out. In my opinion, this is opinion of Aaron Ritter at Limitless Outdoors, and I've been very active in the tree saddle community since 2018, and I have found it and mix that with the archery community. And now I am not a archery only guy. It's my preferred. And I do a lot of archery hunting out of my tree saddle gear, but I have harvested deer with a vertical bow, with a crossbow, with a muzzle loader, with a high powered rifle out of my tree saddle gear, all of it. And I love hunting that way out of my tree saddle gear. And honestly, hunting with my rifle or muzzle loader is the easiest thing that I've ever done out of a tree saddle. It is so stinking easy.
Yeah, so stable.
Yeah. Um, but the guys and gals in the tree saddle industry, the users are so fickle. It's amazing to me. So they want ultralight, they want ultra quiet, they want ultra durability that is made in America, but they want to pay sub China prices. And when a company comes out with a new product, and I've seen it several times over the last 8 years, where a company, I'm going to use Latitude Outdoors as a great example. When they launched their carbon stick, it is a stick that people had been asking for several years.
Sure.
And the bashing that followed the launch or release of that stick was insane. And a lot of it was being driven, or the pot was being stirred by people that had never even had their hands on it at a show, much less taking it to their front yard or taking it out on a hunt and actually employing that stick as designed, utilizing it correctly as designed, following the guidance of Latitude Outdoors, and just bashed that new product. And they complained about the price of it, which the Latitude stick, for what they released at that point of time in the industry, the price point on it was incredibly aggressive on a good
I agree.
in a good direction, right?
And it still is a good price point.
100% it is, and
Yeah.
people still bash it. And I'm bringing this up, Mike, because if you're going to buy the Versa Outdoor Shadow Stick, you're going to spend a little bit of money. But I encourage you not to let that turn you away, because the product that you are purchasing will most likely outlast you. And the versatility of it and the design of it is it's industry leading. And the reality is, for the boys and girls that happen to listen to this show, when you want something very unique that is built incredibly well, that checks all the boxes, that is made in America, you're going to pay money. There's nothing you can do about that. And again, I said I was just going to crack the lid on that can because it's a can of messy stuff. But it's people overlook that. They do.
There is so much input cost into the development and the production, the manufacturing, the assembly, the patents that all go into a product, as people know. Um, there are so many great companies out there that are innovative, that have been innovative and continue to innovate. The Latitudes, the Hunt Arsenals, Lone Wolf, Beast, XOP, I could go on. Great products they put out. We're trying to fit into a space in between all that
Yeah.
just maybe fits a niche because it's so hard to compete and yet try to find the price points that is competing with offshore Chinese and other foreign made products. There is some competition there. I know the tariffs are affecting some of those companies now that are doing that. I've talked to some of them, and it's impactful. What that'll mean for moving more things to be made in America, we'll have to see. Time will tell with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna highlight Latitude again, Mike. For years, everything they made was in the United States. It was American made. And when they launched the Lone Star and the Maverick saddles, the Maverick was made overseas. They were trying to get into a price point for a higher end saddle that would fit a niche in the market so that people could get that high quality saddle at a lesser price. And again, the people that bash that, I mean, it was, I'll never buy Latitude again. They quote unquote say that they're all American made. And did you know that this saddle's being made in China? It's like, yeah. And I'm using it. I'm a veteran and I'm using the Maverick saddle. I don't have a problem with it. I'm choosing to buy that product. And yeah, I know it's made in China, but look at all the other gear and equipment that you're using, and most of it is made in China.
Yeah.
And if you want these companies to survive, you either have to pay for an American made product that is potentially or more than likely going to be a little on the higher end scale that you're paying for, and it has that made in America tag on it, or you need to be okay with spending less money for a product that's made in China. You can't have both. Unfortunately, we can't have it. And I really pray, man, that your products, that they do well, because you have developed and put to market an incredible product. And I love the fact that it's got the American flag on it. And I didn't think twice about meeting the price point for your stick. And I walked around and I shared that with every other tree saddle hunter that I knew of at the HEA that I was connected with, and recommended that they go buy your stick because it's worth the money. And one of my best friends and brand new to saddle hunting, Michael Sims, he was there, and I was encouraging him to go look at all the products that were at the show. And he's like, you know what, Aaron, he's like, I get what you're doing. And it's like, hey man, it's like putting on a pair of jeans. The jeans you wear aren't necessarily going to be the right fit for me. Saddle gear's the same way.
Right. Yeah.
And Michael said, Aaron, listen, I trust you. Are these sticks worth the money? And are you going to use them? I said, Michael, 100%. Yeah, I think they're worth the money. And I am 100% going to put them in my arsenal, my toolbox. And they're going to be my first line climbing sticks for the 2026-27 big game season. 100%. They're going to be my go-to stick for next season and probably for the years to come. And he's like, so are you telling me to go buy these sticks? I said, again, you're watching me spend my money. So if you want my opinion, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. And Michael walked away, I think, with 3 of your sticks.
Yeah, I remember meeting him. Yeah,
Yep.
it was very encouraging to see some of that interest. And yeah, you talked about the price points going offshore. We all weigh that balance of what we're willing to spend for the value that it brings to us, and what it means to us. So how it functions for us. So we all, if we can spend less to get to that balance, that's what we'll do. If the another item is higher priced, but yet it's checking all these boxes and it's what we're looking for, we all look at that purchase potential there and evaluate that. So we're not the most expensive stick on the market. We're not the least expensive. Um, but I think what we offer with the features and the innovation and the integration with all of the different aider options and the way things stack and stow, uh, pack, just the overall finish and function, I think it's a great system. I've been hunting out of climbing sticks, um, climber stands for over 40 years. And I know I'm going to sound biased because this is our company, but the features that these stick offer for the way that I like to hunt, I would own them. And I've used a lot, and I can say with confidence that these shadow sticks for me just fit the style and the way I like to hunt, and just all those little things that maybe annoy me about other sticks. The things that I don't like, for example, we just got back from Indiana, and there were so many people that came to our booth that looked at our stick there, or look at our climbing sticks as one of our products. But I couldn't believe how many of them talked about, I'm not going to name any companies, that's not my point here, but talked about sticks from other companies. And they're just like, I didn't like how this functioned. I didn't like how they connected. I didn't like the noise. And I get to these, and this is just what I'm looking for. And like you said, it's not what everybody's looking for, but
Hmm.
hopefully we fill a void with these sticks and the future products we come out with for the style of hunting that certain people are aspiring to.
Man, you knocked it out of the park with this one. I don't know what else is coming for Versa Outdoors, but I do know the shadow stick for my applications, my wants, my needs. You guys knocked it out of the park. So
Thanks.
blessed to have
Yeah.
stumbled upon your product.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. It feels good to hear that. Like like you said and I've said, it's fitting right now for the way you're hunting and looking to hunt, and the functionality of all that. So it does the same for me. And I hope we can keep reaching out to different people, and that we're going to be at Iowa in a few days at the Iowa Deer Classic, as I mentioned, and hopefully the some people that maybe stop by our booth there find just what they're looking for.
Yeah, I hope the same. And I'm really looking forward to sending you some pictures from the swamps, the marshes of the Eastern Shore, chasing Sika around and packed into the mountains of the Appalachians. And I haven't fully committed to another elk hunt out west this year, but there is an opportunity on the table, and if I end up taking that opportunity, I will be taking my saddle rig with me again, and the shadow sticks, they're going to go with me. So we'll see what the year brings, and what type of photos and videos I can send you with all the great time that I'm having with my shadow sticks in this upcoming season.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, anything you share, anything anybody else shares using our products, hopefully it's good. Um, the one thing that as when I think about good, is that there's been some videos on YouTube that have been independent videos from other people that have used our shadow sticks last season. And I don't know that I really hit on that very well, but there's some people that are really big dudes. There's a guy by the name of Aaron from Whited Outdoors. He's in South Carolina, has used our shadow sticks all last year. He talks on the video about how he's 270-ish plus pounds. Used the sticks all season, and it's just neat to see that kind of feedback. I hope we can get as much positive feedback as possible with these sticks, from people using them, just actually hunting with them. So yeah, it's been good. Check out we have shared some of those YouTube videos on our YouTube channel, Versa Outdoors LLC. Or you can obviously search Versa Shadow Sticks on YouTube or social media platforms and find them there too.
I love it. Anything else that you want to share, Mike? Anything else you want to talk about?
I'm just appreciative of entering this space. This is my passion. People that we bring with Versa Outdoors that help us. We're all trying to share our passions, our interests. We're all hunters. Uh, the the shows that we've gone to, it's just been phenomenal to meet the different people, whether they buy our products or not, just the camaraderie in the hunting community and seeing the innovation in the saddle industry, the climbing
Mhm.
industry in general for tree stands, the climbing sticks. It's mind blowing. And I'm excited to see um, not only what our future brings. I mean, I have a vision and I know what some of that looks in the not too distant future, and it's going to be really good. But I'm also looking forward to seeing what all the other companies come out with. I love this stuff, and I love seeing the innovation. It inspires me. I don't think one thing I mentioned was I have an engineering background, working for some engineering companies and doing some other related stuff through my life. But the innovation that people collectively come out with as a team or independent people to independent companies, it's mind blowing how ideas transcend into, like, why didn't I think of that before? And there's going to be cool stuff coming out in the future from not only us, hopefully that's going to be, a big wow factor, but other companies as well.
Excellent. Well, I am going to let everybody know that this will not be the only episode that the Limitless podcast records with Mike. Mike is a retired law enforcement officer, so I do want to thank you for your service to your community and your state. And Mike's also living with a disability, and so in the future we're gonna record again together, and we're gonna talk about how you served with your particular disability and where that disability might be leading into your future. And I'm really, really excited to jump into those topics in the future as well. And I think we're going to have to record that sooner than later. So I'm looking forward to doing that again, Mike.
Appreciate it, Aaron. Yeah, I thank you for the time to be on your podcast here, and thanks for sharing your excitement, I guess, about using our shadow sticks in the future. Thank you for sharing that at the ATA show with others that came to talk to us, and for bringing us into the forefront on your podcast. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and look forward to another time in the future as well.
Yeah, let's do it again. Hope you have
Sounds
a
good.
hope you have a great day, Mike.
You too. Thank you.
Be limitless.